Hey guys, I'm Nika, your English teacher, and today's episode is for those of you who are worried about our planet, those of you who are concerned about climate change, polluted air and oceans, and the loss of various fish and animals. I want to share some daily tips that I personally try to follow in order to do my part in saving our earth and to keep it for the next generations. And I hope that these tips will inspire you too to make some positive changes in your daily behavior. Tip number 1, carry reusable shopping bags. I've recently noticed that I go to the store twice a week, and every time I end up grabbing at least 2 plastic bags to carry my stuff home. It means that I buy around 100 plastic bags a year. Can you imagine that? It's a crazy amount of waste. So I made a decision that I'm gonna start using reusable shopping bags. So now when I go shopping, I try to take a backpack or a reusable shopping bag with me. Of course, sometimes I may forget about it or I may spontaneously decide to go shopping, but in those cases I buy paper bags, but in general I at least try to keep a shopper in my bag. I remember that in my childhood, only grandmas used to bring their own bags to the store and they didn't really look attractive. But nowadays, reusable shoppers are very trendy and very stylish. They come in many different prints and colors that you can totally find the one that matches your style and your personality. In addition to that, I would like to say that reusable shoppers are also fantastic presents because my friend gifted me one for the new year, and every time I use it, I think of her. So it's such a wonderful and thoughtful and practical gift. So if you want to remind people of yourself, consider giving them reusable shoppers as a gift. Speaking of plastic bags, there is also one thing that bothers me a lot. When I, for example, buy fruits and veggies, I always grab separate little plastic bags for each kind. For example, I can take tomatoes, cucumbers, oranges, apples, and for all those kinds of fruits and veggies, I will take separate small plastic bags. And it's terrible when you think about how many of those end up in trash and you simply throw away after just single use. But I know some people who don't use plastic bags for carrying fruits and veggies, but they, for example, simply put their bananas, let's say, or oranges directly into the shopping basket without any bags. Other people bring reusable small bags, especially for fruits and veggies. And later on, when, for example, those small bags get dirty, they wash them and again take to the shop. And I'm seriously considering getting some of those bags, but the most difficult part for me is to remember to bring them from home each time when I go shopping. Tip number 2 is called use resources wisely. I remember when I was a kid, my family and I never really thought about saving resources. We used to keep water running while brushing our teeth. I remember that my mom would casually chat on the phone while leaving the tap on with running water. And I don't really know why it was happening in general. Maybe because water was so cheap in Belarus back then, or maybe just because nobody really talked about saving resources. In my case, it all changed when I started renting a flat during my master's studies in Vilnius, when I suddenly realized that I have to pay the bills, pay for water, electricity, and heating. And I realized that if I didn't watch my water consumption, then in this case, I would end up with super high bills. So I made a conscious decision to turn off the water while, for example, brushing my teeth, also while shampooing my hair or shaving. And then I started to turn off the water while washing dishes as well. As the result, my water bills dropped significantly. So, guys, saving water isn't good just for the planet, but it's also great for the budget. The same story happened with electricity. In my childhood, I never used to turn off light. I could even leave the house and keep light on. And again, when I started living alone, I all the time controlled how much light I use. And I have a funny story to share with you. Recently, I visited my parents in Belarus, and I also noticed that they still keep lights on in all the rooms around the house, even while they are, for example, sitting only in the kitchen. And then I was walking around the house and turning off TVs and lights in all the rooms where they had turned it on, and they were laughing at me, saying, "Oh, those poor Europeans with their huge electricity bills." But you know what? It's not just about the bills, it's also about being responsible and making a difference. And by using resources wisely and being mindful of our water and electricity usage, for example, we can each play a part in protecting our nature for future generations. And yes, if we save a little money along the way, it's a nice bonus too. Tip number 3 is recycle waste. Currently, we live in a modern area in Gdańsk, and here we've got separate garbage bins for different waste. So we have separate bins for glass, paper, plastic, and general mixed waste. At first, it was a bit annoying that you can't simply throw waste, but you need to think what bin to choose for that. But after some time, I got used to it, and I think it's a wonderful habit. Plus, it feels good to know that you are doing something positive for the environment. I've heard some really interesting stuff about recycling in some developed European countries. Like if you accidentally, let's say, throw waste into the wrong bin, for example, I don't know, plastic to general waste, they may catch you on the cameras and give you a fine. And at first I was like, wow, that's a bit harsh. But, I think that it's a pretty cool way in general to motivate people, be extra careful and extra responsible. You know what's super cool these days? We've got so many options for dealing with old clothes that we don't wear anymore. First off, we can pass them on to our friends, or we can sell them online and make a little extra cash. Or if you have some boxes in your city for people in need, you can also drop off your clothes there. Yeah, it's a small act of kindness that can mean a lot to someone else. But there is also one more nice option. You can bring your old clothes to H&M for recycling, and then you get a discount for your next purchase. I think it's wonderful motivation. So, next time you look in your closet and you find those old clothes staring back at you, remember this awesome tip. You can take those clothes to H&M for recycling, and you can get yourself a little discount in return. It's a win-win situation, I think, because you declutter your closet and you help the environment at the same time. And in addition to that, you also save money on your next shopping. Tip number 5, I called reusable straws, bottles, and coffee cups. I'm a big fan of drinking water and different smoothies with straws. And I used to buy plastic ones all the time. And yeah, they ended up in the trash after just one use. But then I found these awesome glass straws in IKEA. And I've been using the same straws for, I don't remember exactly, but maybe for 2 years now. And all I gotta do is to give them a wash after sipping my drink, and they are good to go again. At the same time, more and more cafes support the ideas of customers bringing their own reusable cups for coffee to go. It's a cool concept because just imagine how many people drink coffee every day. And if all of us could just bring our own cups to cafes for coffee to go, we would drastically reduce the amount of waste from cups, straws, and lids at the same time. But I'll be honest though, I don't have my own reusable cup yet because there are still many problems with this cup, like where to put it when you finish drinking coffee, or you should wash it somewhere not to make your clothes and your bag dirty. But anyway, I think it's a good point to start thinking about. But at the same time, I support a lot the idea of reusable water bottles. If I, let's say, can fill up my own bottle and bring it from home, I'm doing it because I think in this case I can reduce the amount of those plastic bottles that I consume and buy. And it's also at the same time very convenient because I always have my refreshing water at hand. Tip number 6 I called go paperless, but I gonna admit that I still a bit struggle with this one. I've got all these devices, for example, my phone, iPad, laptop, and even computer. But guess what? I still use paper notebooks. A lot of them. I use them for everything, for my classes with students, for my Polish lessons, and for even writing down my thoughts. And yeah, you can call me old-fashioned, but I just love the feel of pen on the paper. And it's like handwriting addiction that I still cannot get rid of. But here I need to say that I've managed to take a step towards being more paperless. So now, instead of buying those traditional paper books, I've got myself an ebook. And it's so convenient. I can put it even in the tiniest and smallest bag and I can take it wherever I go. But the best part about it is that no trees are harmed in this process, and I feel good about not using up Earth resources. So yeah, maybe I'm not entirely paperless yet, but I'm getting there, and it's all about finding that balance between the digital world and my love for writing things down. But every little step counts, right? That's it for today, guys. Those were all the ideas I wanted to share with you. Just keep in mind that even small changes make a huge difference. And if all of us become more conscious about the actions we take daily, we will be able to contribute to a greener and more sustainable future. And we will be able to save our planet for the next generations. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you still haven't followed this podcast, please do so. In this case, you will be informed about the next episode. And additionally, follow me on Instagram where I share more about my life. I also provide many useful English phrases in my stories, and I share different tips that will help you on your English learning journey. So thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys, and keep in touch. Bye bye. See you soon.